Hi folks, I'm Bob Benny.
I'm Jessie Thompson.
And welcome to today's Bobcast. We're both certified financial planners with Bob Benny Wealth Management right here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And today's Bobcast topic is...
Trump accounts. What are they and should you open one?
Yeah, well, you've probably been hearing about the Trump accounts on the news and whatnot. And so we just want to give you a little introduction to them and kind of tell you a little bit about them.
Yeah, so a Trump account is essentially a retirement account for a child. So what's special about them, what's different than like a custodial like children's IRA or Roth IRA, is that the child does not have to have earned income in order for you to be able to contribute for a Trump account on their behalf. The government adds the extra special thing about it, and we think is the best thing about these types of accounts, is that the government will add $1,000 to the account for any child born between 2025 and 2028. So outside of that one-time government, they're calling it a one-time government seed, anyone can contribute up to $5,000 per year on behalf of the child, and the money has to be invested in stock index funds like an S&P 500 fund.
Right. And so the impact of this, now wait a minute. So what if I don't put any money in for the kid?
And they just start with the $1,000.
You just got to sign up and they automatically get the $1,000. Mm-hmm. The government gives them $1,000.
So the way, right.
Okay. Anyway, that's a good deal. So if you were in the S&P 500 index, for instance, the average return over a long period of time is about 10%. So if you just take this $1,000 that the government's giving you for free for the kid and invest it, in 18 years, it's going to grow to approximately $5,500. Well, that's well and good. But at the age of 65, continuing to compound at 10%, that becomes almost $500,000, $490,000 without another penny invested. So this is a good deal.
Yeah. And we think that government contribution is the main advantage of these accounts, because you can have compounded growth in all kinds of other types of accounts for kids. If you started in any kind of different account with a kid, there's lots of different account types, not lots, but several different account types that you can use for children, where if you had $1,000 to invest, you could just start them with $1,000 and then you could have that compounded growth as well. But it's awesome that the government is doing that. If your child or a child that you know, like a grandchild, falls within that specific 3-year range of being born between 2025 and 2028.
And again, you don't have to make a contribution at all to this to get the $1,000 free money. Free money's good, isn't it, Jessie?
Yes.
So oh, wait a minute. You're going to talk about the drawbacks.
Yeah, there's some drawbacks of this type of an account, which is why maybe if someone came to us and said, we want to start investing for our child or grandchild, we might say, yeah, go ahead and start. If they were born in the right time frame, go ahead and start one of these accounts and get the $1,000 from the government. But if you're going to keep contributing, we might suggest there might be another better account type, because there's some potential drawbacks with this. One of them being the account essentially turns into an IRA when the child reaches age of majority, okay? So it has the same rules as an IRA, which means that money can't be taken out until the child's at least 59 and a half years old, at which point, of course, they're not a child anymore. But if they do, then it's subject to taxes, regular taxes, and an extra 10% penalty, just like it would be if you took IRA money out early.
So in that case, if you wanted to invest some money for a kid, for a grandchild, and that they could then, when they got to be a little bit older, maybe out of college, age 25 or whatever, that they could use to buy a house, this wouldn't be the kind of thing to put it in.
Right. And so another thing is, if this is something that you plan on making contributions to outside of that extra $1,000 that you want to regularly put in money to, or whatever, birthday money, anything like that, you do not get any kind of upfront tax deduction on making contributions to that. The way that, like, if the money was in a custodial IRA, the child would get a potential tax deduction for that money that they put in. Or if it went into like a 529, you get a state tax deduction for the money that you put in. Well, you don't get any kind of deduction for the money that you contribute to this account, and then when the child becomes an adult, all of the money is basically taxed. And so from that standpoint, it's maybe not the most efficient savings vehicle
Right.
for a child. But a potential strategy that people could do with these types of accounts is convert it to a Roth IRA when the child becomes an adult. And then, so what you would do is you would have to pay tax on all of that growth, regular income tax, when the child becomes an adult. And the child would be taxed on it, basically. But then it would turn into, instead of a traditional IRA, it would turn into a Roth IRA, where all the future growth and then the future distributions after the child has grown up and is retired are all tax-free.
Yeah.
So that would be like the best, we think probably the best way to utilize these for the future of the child.
And that's certainly something that we can help model for you and do some calculations, see if that works for you. But certainly the free $1,000, everybody that has a kid or grandchild born between 2025 and 2028 ought to take advantage of getting this $1,000 and getting started. And all you do, I mean, people can't come here and
we can't open these accounts.
Yeah, but you just go to trumpaccounts.gov
and fill out an application.
Up. Right.
Yep. And sign up. So with that, we want to talk about a couple of other options that are out there for kids that maybe have more flexibility, or depending on your goal for saving for the child, might be a better fit than these Trump accounts, especially if your child was not born between 2025 and 2028 for that $1,000. So the first one would be a custodial account, where it's called a UTMA, or Uniform Transfer to Minors account. This type of an account, an adult is basically the manager of the account for the benefit of the child until the child reaches age of majority. When the child becomes an adult, that account automatically becomes the child's. It's age 21 in Nebraska. No matter how responsible that child is, at age 21, that money is theirs, and there's nothing that the adult that was on the account can do about it from then on. So that's maybe a potential drawback depending on how responsible the child is. But the great thing about that type of an account is that it's completely flexible. So it can be used to help pay for college if the kid needs help paying for college. It can be used for first time for a home.
Right.
They can take it out for anything without having to pay any kind of penalties on it when they become an adult. The way that it's taxed is basically any earnings in the account, so interest, dividends, recognized capital gains, are taxed all throughout the life of the account. So they're taxed at kind of special rates that I'm not going to get into, because they're taxed to the child most of it.
It's usually at a lower income
kitty tax rates.
Right.
For up to a certain amount, and then taxed at the parents. And then of course when it becomes owned by the child after they become an adult, all of that is taxed. The earnings are taxed to the child. So you're kind of more paying the taxes as you go, but usually it's less than regular income tax rates, like it would be down the line if you took out money from like an IRA or something like that.
Then another option would be what people's heard about, the college savings accounts, the 529 plans. They're specifically for college expenses, and there's some, there's
tax advantages to these
particularly.
Tax
advantages to it. Yeah, because they grow, and if you take them out for taxes, the money comes out, all the growth comes out totally tax-free.
If you use them for college expenses. Yeah. And a nice thing about those too is you can also convert those to Roth if they don't end up being used for college, but they're a little bit less flexible than the UTMAs is a potential drawback of it. So if you or anyone you know are trying to save up for a child in your life, we can help you figure out what kind of account might be best for their situation and your situation. So we're here for you for that. I also have a great resource that's on our website that I wrote up that has like a chart kind of comparing all of these different accounts that we talked about, that's maybe a little bit more easy to digest if you're a visual person. So you just go to www.bobbenny.com, go to our blog, and then the name of it is called The Ultimate Guide to Investing for Kids. So
great. Thanks for writing that up.
All right.
And thank you for listening to the Bobcast today. If there's anything we can do for you, answer any kind of questions about this or any other kind of financial topics, retirement planning, estate plannings, any of that kind of stuff, please Email us at bob@bobbenny.com or
Jesse@bobbenny.com.
other than that, have a blessed day.
Thank you.